Hi, this is Latin. Hope everyone is staying safe, and we're back with Software Inc.'s Resolutions, Episode 5. The scenario is we've reached the $500 million mark. We're looking to automate all our processes. So we look at project management. The questions we have: what is it? Why use it? What are the pros? What are the cons? And then we want to review the project management doc. All this after the intro. So, Resolutions Episode 5, Project Management. What is it? Why use it? Pros, cons, and then the project management doc review. Let's start with what is it? The project management is set up and used by the PM lead to guide teams to achieve project goals set within the constraints in the project management doc, with the main constraint being scope, time, and budget. Okay, why use it? The PM establishes the structured process that not only ensures adhesion to the outlined task, but also streamlines and minimizes the complexity of post-release activities such as updates, support, and marketing. So you're going to get rid of all that clutter on your screen, and we'll show you how it would look once project management is fully implemented. The big tip here is you will only have to remember to print, import to other OSs. Everything else will be done within the project management, with the exception of research, legal, and accounting. Let's get into it. Okay, with project management fully implemented, this is how your screen should look. If we look to the right here, we have Games RPG Adventure Sim. We have Games Sports RTS FPS. We have OS hardware. And then we have OS systems. Disregard these last two. These are just tests. Okay, so the only other thing that you should see here is research, porting, legal, and accounting. These are the only other things you should be seeing here once project management is fully implemented. Porting, you really don't want to see, so let's get rid of porting. So research, you're going to keep an eye on research, and then project management. And if your company is no longer doing research or patenting, this is how your screen should look. Let's get into the pros. Project management automates manual processes like sequels, single IPs, design, development, framework, pre-marketing, hype, post-marketing, support, physical copies, print jobs. It also handles updates for tech levels, bug fixing. It establishes cycles and durations and reduces the clutter we just discussed. So what are the cons? Removes the ability to change the app's name both in development and sequels. Within the project management doc, you're not able to change the name. Now you could change a sequel's name by starting a sequel within the releases doc. In the design doc, change the name and reassign it to the project management. But once the project management has started the design phase, you're not able to change the name unless you take it over and start over. Okay, ability to check the progression phase of the design and development phase, actual phase views. We're able to look over, we know the colors, we know what phase design is in, we look over, we see the percentage, and we know how far into the development the team is. So the ability to check the progression phase of the design and development actual phase views. So you're able to see at a glance in the project. All that gets lost. Now, I know how to control all phases of release for outstanding quality. I will lose that in project management. So we're not able to guarantee ourselves an outstanding, but there are ways to also with testing. Testing will help you to develop new strategies like adhering to the suggested team sizes. You also lose the animated release, which is what I miss most. Okay, so let's get into a design doc. Let's go here, options. How do we set up a design doc and what is a design doc? Okay, from starting at the top, the title, Games, RPG, Adventure, and Sim. So that means games, role-playing games, adventure, and sim. That's the name I gave this one. At a glance, I look at it, I know what the doc does. The most important part of the doc is the leader. Thea first. Thea first is the PM, and I've added PM to her name in the change name, and I added PM so I know she is my PM. Thea is also my lead designer. My strategy at inception when I set the company up is to set my lead designer as my project manager. So she is both lead designer and project manager. And if we go look at Thea, all the details, close this off. Okay, Thea first. Designer. She's got 2 points left, and those will occupy 3D and network. And that'll give her 3 stars across the board for everything. Now, it's also important that she has 3 stars in system and 3 stars in marketing. I'll show you why in a minute. Let's first review what's important here is automation. She has project management, 1 star. 1 star gives her the ability to set up a project management doc. And if you only have 1 star, that's all she could do is set it up. 2 stars gives her sequels, iterations, and framework. She could manage those within the project doc. 3 stars gives you the ability to handle post-release tasks. So your project manager is important that they have 3 stars in automation. What helps is multitasking, improves effectiveness with support and marketing tasks, improves effectiveness with development tasks, improves effectiveness with any task. And she also has leadership skills, which is socialization. She doesn't need handle complaints, she doesn't need handle education, and she doesn't need handle hiring. So HR skills are not needed here. These are the skills that I suggest to start off with. And I start off with automation and multitasking. Specialization should basically grow into, or depending on where you're starting, hard, medium, or impossible. First, make sure she has 3 automation, then multitasking, and then whatever you could give her. Socialization will help. 3 stars in system, I believe, is important also. Art, not so much. So I give it to Winnie. Okay, so that is the project manager. And if you see, she is also my lead designer with private office, royalties, and IP ownership. She's out of the scope of this playthrough. Okay, so that is our project manager. Next is design teams, design games, and PM. So I said it before, she's also my lead designer. And you always want to either have a lead designer within the design game or your design teams, or she has in her own group. Make sure you add her here. You need a lead designer, or if you don't select one, the PM will select one for you. Development teams, art and dev games. You need a program and an art team for the development cycle. Those are my 2 teams I use for that. Secondary teams, I have none. Why? We'll discuss that when we get into auto development further down the doc. Why I have none here. Okay, so support teams are always going to be support and support 2 in my case, AM and PM teams. Pre-marketing teams, I'm going to make marketing. That's my AM marketing teams. Your marketing teams should consist of marketers with 3 stars and 2 stars. You should have both. At this point in the game, we have 14 employees in this team, and they're tackling 6 tasks. So it's 13 service people in a lead to make up that team. And they comprise of 2 and 3 stars. That's medium and high salaries, unless you could find a medium salary with 3 stars, which you once you've achieved 6 stars in business reputation, you may get lucky. So that's our marketing team, pre-marketing. Post, let's get rid of law here. And they are secondary team, but I don't want to use them anymore. I prefer to concentrate on those patents. So let's get rid of them. Post-marketing should mirror the pre-marketing teams, 2 star and 3 stars. And these are going to be, my selection is night owls. Okay, update teams. update teams that have core, port, and a debug teams. You could use your port and debug teams if you have any in here or not. The most important thing here is that we have a design, development, and art covered. If you look at here, we have 6 programmers, 5 designers, and 3 artists. If you go look at that team, they're able to cover. Core team is also my overflow and refill team. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. Okay, SCM, source control management. We have SCM development version 2.0. That's my SCM. Prototype software, we have Martians here. We'll explain this in a minute. Let's move on to hosting. My hosting server is StarHost. Star Hosting is our hosting server. Okay, development time. I've done extensive testing and I find that 160, 180 is what I like to use for development times on my teams. 200 for OS. That's my suggested. You should try doing your own testing. If you could get this down to below 180 or 160, more power to you. Good luck with that. Iteration cooldowns. How many months to wait between iterations in the alpha state? Type 0 for never. This, I always have it as 0. So let's jump down to one other to explain this. Once you get into the automation, auto develop. Activate this to make the leader come up with new products based on the last product release. So if we hit this, you're also going to want to assign a secondary. So then you assign a secondary team here. Secondary team will be Dev 2 and Art 2. You assign those teams there. My suggestion is assign a cooldown here. How many months to wait between iterations in the alpha stage? Why do you want to do this? You don't want to put a strain on your designer, where she has to go from one product to the other, immediately starting a second one, because you've had this auto development so that as soon as they finish one design and assign it to the development team, they start a new one. So you want during that first development alpha cycle for her to be able to rest. How many months she rests depends on the iteration cooldown time you place here. And you're going to have to know that that's going to extend the development cycle. We're at 180, so we should be able to safely put 2 months here. 1 month here between iterations. You'll decide that. I don't play with second teams. That's why I have that set to none. And I don't leave this auto develop on. So that's how that plays out. So update, that's a no-brainer. You want to always be updating. Update text levels. Try to update the latest tech level whenever possible. Otherwise, just fix bugs. You want that to always be happening. That is my suggestion. You guys could test these two and decide. Update cycle. How often to release updates in month? You can also test this. I've used 3, I used 6. I'm still changing and testing. So right now I'm at 3 and 24 for a game. That's what I'm using. You guys could test and suggest. Hype is basically marketing hype. You always want to have that. That's my suggestion. Auto develop, I use this only when I want to start a new. Let's say we want to go, what are we? RPG Adventure Sim. Let's get a sim game. City Builder. Okay, City Builder. We just added City Builder. These guys are in design phase. So if we want to add City Builder in the development fact, let's not add City Builder here. Let's get rid of City Builder. What did this have? Martians. Let's put Martians back in there. That's Martians too. So last one was Martians. So let's put that back in there. Let's close this down. In fact, you don't even have to. We just open this new one. We just opened was real-time strategy and first-person shooters. And that's Dev 2, Dev Games. It should be Dev Games 2. That should be Dev Games 2. Dev Games 2 is discovering sports RTS and first-person shooter. Okay, secondary non-support, blah, 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 blah. All this is said correctly. So sports would be Thunder Cards 2. RTS would be Magic Cards 2. And first-person shooters, basically what we're doing now. Thunder Cards was there because of the fact that Thunder Cards 2 was just released. And I don't know why it's not here. So unless it was Thunder Cards 2 inadvertently released in here. Yeah, that's what it was. Thunder Cards 2s and Thunder Cards were done in here. So that answers that question. Okay, so we want this application is in the beta phase. We want to add something new here. Just for the sake of just adding it, add Magic Cards 2 here. If we go here to auto develop, start the clock, it should add it here, but it's not adding in here because we have only sequels selected. If we unselect only sequels, it will add it, and it will add it with a new name. The system will pick a new name for it. Let's stop the clock. Let's go in here, add the cards back in here, remove card, and take this and cancel it. That's it, it's canceled. This eventually will be canceled too. Okay, where did we leave off? Tech levels, updating, hype, development. So that's how auto development works. We want to uncheck that. If I want to continue to make sequels, I want to check sequels. Use frameworks is a no-brainer. You always want to use your own framework. Single IP. If you want, you have a choice. Only sequels or single IPs. You want to develop single IPs, the system will go and develop single IPs, and once automated is checked here, it will develop single IPs. Rifle trucks, design, yes, you see. I added that. We're going to cancel that. And we're going to get rid of single IPs. So that's how those work. Use all on licenses is also a no-brainer, where the leader should try solely sticking to in-house license and creating new projects. And the operative word is try. We have an in-house license, let's use it. If not, we use what we can. Post-marketing, let the project manager handle post-marketing and setting the budget. That's a no-brainer. You want them to handle marketing. Handle marketing, handle support, the same thing. You want them to handle support. Physical copies I never use. By the time you start using project management, you should have enough printers in place, and you should select your print job here. This is your initial print job. Set this to a number above 0. Automatically queue a print job for each project, which prints an assigned amount copies when the project is the beta phase. Add % to the end of the number to print a percentage of the project followers. So if you add a %, it'll percent. However many followers, it'll add a % of how many you want to print. This is your initial print job. That means this is going to be printed in the alpha phase, unreleased. That's how much you're going to have available. The big tip is that you're going to have to go in and set a limited or maximum you want to set for post-release going forward. Once this is exhausted, how much you want to print monthly. You have to set that. You also have to, once this releases, your second task is going to set your port where you want to port this application when it releases. Those are 2 manual processes that you have to do. Marketing, updating, support will be handled in here in the project phase. You don't have to do that anymore. This is the design, development, and marketing action points. Your PM sets these up in the beginning, and as the project goes along, these are basically used up. Okay, and we're going to look at projects here. Sergeant Stone queued. No, there's nothing else queued. Phase is in the beta phase. Next is unavailable. Followers, you have 10. Releases in 1993. Now, one thing that I did not see here is your next not available. Next phase is not available yet. Your next phase is going to be important, and then we're going to look at next phase. Let's look at next phase in here. Next phase, you have to make note of this next phase. June 1994. In June 1994 is the next phase. This will go from design to beta in June of 1994. Why is this important? This is important because of this, your action. You're going to have to go in here and check to make sure that you have, once that goes into beta, you're going to have to make sure that this is basically 7 out of 7. This is my strategy. I adhere to the suggested team sizes for design and development. This says 5 required. I make sure this is 5. That's how I use this information for. This says 7 required on the next phase date. I will come make a mental note of that next phase date, and I will make sure that that date I come in here and make sure there's 7 in this team. Or you could do it before then, but once they go from design to development, that number can change, as will this release date. That release date can change several times within the beta and the alpha stages, and so can this program, recommended program. I have seen it change, doesn't always happen. So 5 out of 5, 7 out of 7. It's my suggestion. That's a suggested. That's what I go for. That's what I always use. And I always go for outstanding. So it gives me outstanding if I catch these in time. That means on June 1994, I come in here, I make sure this is 7, and I can walk away. Artists, you just got to make sure you have 3 or more. If it's more, no big deal. But you have to have the minimum of 3. Suggested 3, you have to have those 3. And in looking at this 3 will be 2D, 3D, and audio, if that's what the application is calling for. Release date is none. That's because this is a moving target. That release date is suggested. That's why it's not here. Consumer reach gives you all the other information. Royalties, 5 audio tools you're using, operating system, and your SCM. This SCM is 0.1, which is wrong. The SCM is 0.2. SCM is 2.0, so that will hopefully be updated. Okay, so that's basically the project. All projects will be in here. Any new projects coming in. Once it's in the design phase, you should have no other projects in here unless you're into, you selected only sequels and automated, which you'll see that it gets populated. Okay, project shows you the releases and what's happening with them. Thundercards is still being supported. 7Q, 10 bugs, support and support 1 are on it. Thundercards 2 support, 4Q, 243 bugs, support and support 1 are on that. Space is doing marketing, and this will tell you how much they're making and what's it costing. And marketing 2 is handling post marketing. Thundercards the same, City Builder the same, Thundercards 2 the same, Thundercards 2 is being updated, and Martians 2, which is our new product that's in the design phase, is basically being hyped. You see how early these things are being hyped? That means there's a release date that's been set, and they will be changed. So the release date that's been set right now is September 1996, but in here there is no release date, so you keep an eye on this and see when this changes. Okay, takeaways in project management. Tips. Okay, big tip is to keep track of the next phase date on PM so you can double check the required team size for the next phase. The sooner you do that, the better chance you have of getting an outstanding. If you let this go 2 or 3 months and you realize you're short or long 2 or 3 people, that is going to dictate the outcome of your release. This quality. The big tip, you need to ensure that you never order hardware. Console joysticks are fun. I never order any kind of applications. I only print, so that's the big reason. You never want to order hardware. That will break the bank. So this is how I set up my PMs in mine. And I've gotten anything that is a sequel is basically a PM. This is a sequel, outstanding. This is a sequel, outstanding. This is sequel, only great. And it only got great because I failed to keep a team size. If you're on top of it, you should be able to. As long as you have a team, if you have a team that has released an outstanding app, whatever's being done before, and you keep on top of the team sizes in the project management, you have no issues. Star OS 2 was a project, outstanding. Nothing else here was a project. The only thing that we basically start is box 2. If we go look at PMs, we're looking here, 6 out of 6. And recommended for programmers is 10. This is something that we asked for and we finally received a few iterations back. Manufacturing, how to set up your manufacturing, how to set up your manufacturing for joystick. This here. We asked and we received. So, like I said before, project management, you have any questions, regardless of how complicated, because if they do get complicated, we'll just make a resolutions for it and explain it in the resolutions. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. You learned something, you're more comfortable, you're able to use the project management. I'm going to ask that you please like, share with friends, subscribe. Special thanks to all my subscribers. We do appreciate you. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Please like and share for more videos. Stay safe. Keep those around you safe. Latin.